Welcome, everyone, to another episode of a SmackDown Live recap here on the Pro Wrestling Sheet. I'm all in blue to commemorate a SmackDown Live recap. I'm your host, John Rocha, fresh off seeing the magic of Aladdin last night. No spoilers. Let's just say I went in thinking it was going to be a terrible pay-per-view, and I actually enjoyed myself by the end of the pay-per-view. So I'm joined, as always, by my co-host here, Ryan Satin, the CEO of the Pro Wrestling Sheet. How are you, brother?
I'm all right. I'm okay. Yeah, I woke up with like a little like toothache kind of thing, so I don't know. It's annoying me, but hopefully it'll be like Aladdin, and it'll be better than I expect by the end of the day.
It's magic. Make a wish. Rub that lamp and make a wish. Today, a lot of fans got a great wish last night. Big E came back. That's how the show started. Big announcement. Well, there was Shane on the phone, got interrupted by Elias, but then we had Kofi come out with Xavier, and then they announced Big E. I don't know why they messed around with us and had a fake Big E and then brought out the original. Like, I don't know what the storyline for that was or the logic of that.
It made me laugh. It made me laugh.
Okay.
Did you not laugh?
I thought it was okay. I thought it was setting up a heel turn. Like, I thought they were messing with Big E, so bringing out fake Big Es to mess with him.
Everyone keeps saying they want a Big E heel turn.
I they don't want it. I'm saying I want to prepare for it.
I feel like people want it. Sorry, I don't feel like people want it. I feel like people keep saying it.
Yeah.
But, God, for me, it was so good seeing New Day back together as a whole.
Absolutely.
In fact, the 6 weeks he was away, you go like, man, Big E really is a key part of that unit.
I would say he's the most important part of that unit.
I think he is too.
Yeah.
Like, I really like the other two, but there's a certain charisma about him that's different than the other two. That's just, it's similar to like it's beyond, but similar to Otis, where it's just its own unique thing.
Yeah.
And Big E really has it. He's his own unique thing. It's why he was so entertaining on Twitter the whole time he's been at home. So great to see Big E back. Just even the promo when you were hearing all three of them kind of like do their separate things, they felt like their homeostasis had been restored. Like it's a Biodome shout out for the 10 of you who like that movie watching, but like it just kind of felt like they were back at whole again, and I liked it.
Yeah, I agreed. I enjoyed it as well. They had to welcome back Big E, big setup there in the ring. That's the thing, and they were like making jokes, and Kofi's like, got to take it seriously. Then did a hip swivels. So you get these are the three guys that we absolutely love as a faction. They never disappoint. They rarely disappoint when they're doing their jokes and what have you in their promos. So it was great to see that. But then they get interrupted by KO, and then his best friend there, Sami Zayn, coming out. KO gets fed up, walks out after having a little bit of a back and forth, and Sami takes over.
No, he didn't say anything.
No, well, fair enough. He didn't say anything looking at it, and then went away, and then Sami comes out, Sami takes over and starts berating the New Day, saying that KO would have won in 5 minutes if he hadn't been distracted, blah, 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 and which sets up a match later between Sami and Kofi. But what are we setting up here? Do Kevin and Sami need a third guy?
I don't know about that, but to me, it more so. I mean, at the end of the show, we'll get to that. Not the end of the show, but the other part, kind of felt like they're moving on from Owens versus Kofi.
Oh, yeah?
Did you not get that vibe?
I don't know. I never know with that because KO came out first, so it doesn't feel to me like they're moving away.
Well, no, I'm more so meant because of what happened with Dolph later in the show.
Right. Well, maybe that's the third person, their crew to go up against the New Day.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
I mean, maybe I don't see them like forming a faction or anything like that. We already kind of have Sami and Kevin are their BFFs, Right. I don't think they're gonna. I feel like adding a third wouldn't really make a lot of sense. I will say though, I liked how much you saw. I like that they're setting up. To me, it seems like they're setting up Big E versus Kevin Owens down the line. Yeah, that's what to me would have felt like they were going for here. It felt like they're ending Kofi versus Kevin, and moving on to Dolph versus Kofi, and then Big E versus Kevin, because Big E backstage when he got attacked, and we'll get to it or whatever, but or we can talk about it now or whatever, but it seemed to me like when they attacked Big E, when Big E got attacked backstage and he was yelling about Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens became the third member of New Day when Big E was gone. Right. And there's a lot to work with there. So I feel like that's where they're transitioning to next. And Kofi's moving on to the Dolph thing. So what I will say about this part is that Kevin looked intense even though he didn't talk at all, which I liked. Yeah. And I liked this new dynamic of like like a big bulldog of Kevin Owens not even wanting to talk because he's so mad, and Sami Zayn kind of just like run, and that's actually kind of what they had before, but now it's like in a heel version where Kevin's angry and Sami's kind of running around him and stuff. So I liked it. I liked what they were doing together again, and once again I really felt like, why is Sami Zayn booked so well on SmackDown and so terribly on Raw? It was one of those things where I go, even in defeat when he loses to Kofi later, he didn't. It wasn't like a disappointment. It was like that was a great, good match.
Good match.
You know, I enjoyed all of it. He looked strong earlier. I like his new like vibe. He was great to me here.
Yeah.
So it's weird, just like one day apart, to see someone be used perfectly on one show and terribly on the other. It's weird to me how that happens.
Do they have different creative teams? I know you say Vince is in charge of the whole situation, but do they have different creative teams in this in Raw and SmackDown?
Not really.
Okay, this is the same people, so maybe it's just the construction of the roster. Do you think on SmackDown that allows them to book differently and better with some of these characters? All right, you know, I ask your speculation.
No, I mean,
I understand.
I know. I'm like, you know. I never call myself an expert, so I would never say that. But I don't know. I don't know the answer. To me, it confuses the hell out of me too. Like it's one of those things where it's all Vince. I know, like you say, creative teams, but it really is all Vince. Right. So it's hard to really say the answer to that unless you're in that room, you know.
And like they're coming up with storylines, but Vince is the one that says yes or no. Right, pretty much, or he'll suggest storylines possibly as well. But do you think he's mapping out an entire season? I don't think that's what.
But he's
the final approval, though.
No, he's also like
really
coming up with the stuff. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's not just people sometimes. Yes, there's a creative team, but also a lot of the ideas they're coming up with are ideas that are going to make Vince happy because Vince has said, "I want things like this, that, and the other." You know, and so there's stuff like that too. So Vince has a big creative. His footprint his creative footprint in WWE is huge.
His carbon footprint is big.
Yeah,
and one of those is probably bringing back that hardcore title and calling it 24/7 title, which is what we go to next. The promos that went throughout the whole night of R-Truth trying to avoid getting pinned to lose that 24/7 title, going to Carmella getting putting up the blonde hair and everything like that, which is really funny, and that leads to a number of vignettes which we'll talk about as we go along here with the SmackDown recap. But let's move on to Mustafa and
wait a second, real fast.
Sure.
We're going to talk about all of them the other night?
Yeah, as we go along. But if you want to talk about them all now, we can do that too.
Well, it's up to you. I don't know. I didn't know. I just didn't want them to get left behind.
Okay, let's talk about them then.
Because I feel like
this is a really funny, I thought, a very funny usage of R-Truth and Carmella.
Did it make you like the 24/7 title more?
It did make me like the title more. It made me like that they could use it as a prop for R-Truth and Carmella that kept their unique kind of comedy that I've been enjoying for the last few months at the forefront of the show. That's what I enjoyed about it.
So you did kind of like the title more then?
Well, I would say I like the result of the title, not the fact that the title's in play.
It was really long-winded. I was trying to like get to the core of what he said there. It was like, it was real critic speak there. I had to like get through it there. So like, wait.
Yeah.
So you did like him more.
I don't. Here's the deal. Here's what I say. I hate the title, but I like the
title itself.
The title itself.
The way it looks.
Yes.
Or the concept.
The title itself.
Okay.
And the way it looks. But I like that they're using it in this way.
Okay.
That it's unknown. Anything can happen. I wonder how long they can keep this going. But I do enjoy it now because R-Truth is the perfect person to have it for right now. And as we go along, what this happens. And once again, it allows for people who are really good at comedy in the WWE to have a prop to use to bring that comedy out. So that's what I would ask.
I do agree with you in that regard. I think that, you know, comedy wrestling has a place.
Of course.
And, you know, as much as we wanted to bitch about it not being the hardcore title, quote unquote, or, you know, changing the look of it, or just, you know, all the complaints we had, how it wasn't needed, really. Yeah. You could make the other titles more important. I think at the end of the day, having a fun title isn't a bad idea.
Yeah, it isn't.
It's not. You know, my girlfriend, who wasn't around during the Attitude Era, by the end of the show, she was like, officially, this is officially my favorite title. This stuff is hilarious. I love it. And you know, by the end of SmackDown last night, you couldn't really disagree. I mean, it is fun. It does stand out from the other titles. You know, I know that. Okay, so if you like look at the two things, there's like of the most recent titles, there's the women's tag team titles and there's the 24/7 title now. Right. And the women's tag titles, while important to have that and to have women's tag team titles and more opportunities for women, the matches aren't any different than what we've maybe seen in the past. Like, it's not like there's never been women's tag team matches. Right. It's just now they have a title. I think that, you know, the 24/7 title does lend itself to adding a unique aspect to the shows. That's something that'll be a little different. And I do kind of feel like WWE has lost some of the camp. I like the campiness of WWE, and I feel like back shaving and that kind of stuff maybe isn't going to do it for me.
That's not the right kind of camp.
It's not the right kind of camp. I do think there being backstage chaos is fun. Yeah. When chaos, when the backstage area is in disarray and it almost feels like a cartoon to me, where it's like, you know, there's always like, if you turn a corner, there could be like one cartoon character punching another. And I feel like that's how your picture of the WWE backstage locker room should be, because that's the vibe that they present on TV. And so I think having everyone run around in circles like it's a big roller derby trying to get a title is kind of fun. Yeah, and I think the perspective of it all is different too, because it didn't feel right on Raw, but it felt right on SmackDown. Okay. So I wonder if that works overall. I could see it working on NXT, absolutely. That'd be a funny thing to see how it would play out there, if it extended all the way down there and then come back up. But I would love to see it less on Raw, because I just don't think Raw's the kind of place for it. But I say the opposite. I would say the opposite. Really? Though. Well, Raw's the like jokey, fun show. Over SmackDown? Yeah,
I would disagree with that.
Well, SmackDown's been the athletic, match-focused, sports-focused show for since they've had the brand split. Okay. And Raw's always like the jokey, like skits, comedy kind of stuff. So wow. Okay. That's how it's always been. I can't say that. I'm surprised you're confused. That you're surprised by that. Because I've always felt like it's the more serious show. You know, the champion is more serious. Everything's more serious. Everything's more important. Whereas SmackDown's like, we can let our hair down, and have a little fun. Well, but I'm talking about in terms of like how the type of segments they have on the show. Like they usually have more comedy, like Goldust and Booker T type stuff. That's always been like a Raw thing, you know. And then SmackDown is usually like the more match-based athletic competition show. I might have to revisit that for myself. I haven't felt that way about Raw in quite some time, so I felt more that's in SmackDown. But maybe that's always been the case, and I've just been ignoring it because I've seen it done better on SmackDown. Okay. Yeah, it's possible. Could be on me. But I love the way it's all played out, because you had Carmella now doing some funny stuff, and the blonde hair with R-Truth pulling out the bra, everything like that, and him getting chased around and almost pinned, and all these Jinder almost got him. Jinder. Oh my God, when are you trying to win the 24/7 title? Anyway, these kinds of things going forward. So, but at the end of the night, he keeps it, right? Yeah. And so it's still R-Truth, which I think is brilliant, because you want somebody funny to have the title. And I would say the difference between the 24/7 title and the hardcore title, and it's very clear to me, the hardcore title did have some prestige because it was a hardcore title. You could lose from like kendo sticks to bricks to chairs to anything possible. With this, it's just regular pins. So I don't think it's as prestigious, to a degree, if you can even use that word with it, but I think then the hardcore title was, but it's still a fun prop to use to give wrestlers some time to have a little fun. I enjoy that. I mean, I wouldn't call the hardcore title prestigious. It was like built from the trash, and there was 250 champions in 4 years when they got rid of it. But they're both the same. One felt like it took more effort to win. The hardcore title. Not in those 24/7 days. When Crash Holly had it, he was getting pinned in like hotel rooms and ball pits. He was getting hit over the head with like foreign objects. Not always. You can't do this with 24/7 title. I feel like they don't want to do that with the 24/7 title. You know, nobody used anything illegal last night. The only thing I'm disappointed in, and maybe this is where they're going with this, I wanted Carmella to pin Truth. I thought that's where we were going. I thought for sure that's where this was going. The whole night. And if it's still going that way, great. But I thought for sure, because of the whole like when R-Truth and Carmella first started pairing up, it was because R-Truth said he was going to pin Carmella. Yeah. And he never did, but it was like, oh, I'm going to fight Carmella for the women's championship or whatever. I'm going to pin Carmella. And it was like, wait, what are you talking about? So I thought for sure they were going to play off of that. And she was like, no, I pinned you. And then she was going to run off with a title. And then everyone was going to be like, oh, whoa, 24/7 title is intergender? Hell yeah. And that would have been a new wrinkle in it and everyone would have been pumped. I thought that's where they were going to go with this. Maybe it's where they're going to go with this down the line. I don't know. So that was my only like minor disappointment there.
I would agree.
I thought she was going to protect him all night only to pin him and be the first female 24/7 champion.
Like right at the last minute, hit him with a car door or something.
I thought for sure that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought so too. Or have someone waiting to clothesline and then take the pin herself. Yeah, that's something.
That's what I thought.
It all bled out into them getting chased out of the ring by all these people running out, and a fireman carries Carmella out the door, and that's that, and they take off. So funny stuff, very funny stuff.
Yeah, that was the match part came later. I jumped ahead. I know, I'm sorry.
You wanted to talk about it. We did.
Know. Well, because the Mandy thing was like such a throwaway.
It really was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Mustafa Ali taking on Andrade Cien Almas. Good match. Pay-per-view level match between these guys. Hey, remember, they just did a ladder match 2-3 days ago. Pretty phenomenal work by them. An extensive long match, or decently long match, and good spots between both of them. Didn't see a lot of botches. That flip thing he does, good God almighty. I don't know how you don't break someone's neck on that.
It's crazy.
It really is. And his Hurricane Rana was incredible off the top rope as well. All that. Andrade had some great moves. Good stuff from Zelina again. But in the end, Ali gets that pin. A much needed pin, I think, at this point.
Yes, absolutely. Very needed. Great match. Definitely one of those things where I was talking about, like where it's the sport-based show. And you're like, man, great like 10-minute match or whatever it was between Ali and Andrade. It's hard to even have anything to say about it because it was just awesome.
Yeah.
Like it was just like those were two talented dudes that are just like on that rise up. And I don't feel like, Andrade losing took anything away.
Nope.
Similarly to Ricochet losing on Raw, it was like he just wrestled like in a crazy ladder match.
Yeah.
We know they're supposed to be hurt. It's more impressive that they were able to have that kind of match, like you said, after a ladder match like that.
Brutal, man.
Brutal match.
Yeah.
But I think both guys did a great job here.
Yeah, I thought so too. And, especially ahead of the Intercontinental Championship that Andrade is going to do at Super Showdown, the matchup he's going to be having there, this was a good showcase of the talent on both sides. And I think Ryan is absolutely right. It's good. No one's going to lose by losing. You just want a good match, a really good match, show the skills, and then we know that these W's and these L's are going to be interchanged amongst all these who are in this middle area. And I'm sure at some point Aleister Black's going to get involved. Won't that be interesting, depending on which side, if he's face or heel?
Yeah, there wasn't an Aleister Black promo last night, huh?
And we haven't seen Aleister Black wrestle in quite some time. And
they've been doing the videos on him, but there wasn't one of those last night. Was there one last week? I don't remember. I was on vacation, so I don't remember.
Okay, but the Aleister Black one, we'll see what happens if he's a face or heel, depending on how the promos are playing out.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it'd be interesting to see him taking on Andrade with Zelina in the corner. That'll be fascinating.
Well, they did that before it was known they were dating.
Oh, right. Okay.
But yeah. Or married now, not dating.
Hey-o.
But yeah,
you lucky man. Yes, go ahead.
I hope Aleister Black comes in soon. I didn't even think about the fact that we haven't seen him for a few weeks. I'm trying to think what the next Super Showdown, and then what's after Super Showdown.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. It's not that important. It's really not that important. But yeah, I would love to see Aleister Black get back in soon. I mean, that whole scene right there. That's what the scene on SmackDown is really like. There's a lot of talent right there. Like the young male and female talent that are just like ready to get to that next level. So yeah, that's why I like SmackDown a lot right now. I think that I think I've also finally become okay with this wild card rule.
Okay.
I think I finally accepted it.
Yeah.
I think I was like, okay, I get it. It's just the brand split is over.
It was just a stupid construct to have the brand split be over.
Well, it's basically like having your. I realized the wild card rule is having your cake and eating it too.
Yes.
It's the brand split is over, but we still want to have two separate brands because we've made two separate TV deals.
Right. Exactly.
So that's what it seems like to me. Is like, well, we still need a set of champions on each show because we've got these commitments. Wild card rule. Yeah. Anyone can be anywhere except for these people. Oh, wait, no.
But it's all over the place.
But I finally become okay with it. Okay. It's not bothering me anymore. Is it still bothering you?
No,
just the randomness?
No, there's no real reason to be bothered anymore now because it's going to happen whether I'm bothered by it or not. So I might as well just enjoy what I can out of it when it's used well. And I feel like it was used well last night, that's for sure, on SmackDown. We did have, moving on to the Mandy Rose fight here with Carmella. Not much came of it. I think Carmella was doing nice work, and then brought in Sonya, was beating up Sonya, and then everything fell apart from there.
Yeah, but I skipped ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I know.
That's all right.
But we talked about this kind of already. But I mean, it was just a vehicle to get to that 24/7 title.
Yeah.
So,
but did you like what Carmella was doing in the ring? I liked
it.
Her.
Was like a 2-minute match.
Fair enough. Okay.
It was literally like a few minutes before they got into it. So I don't know. I mean, it's tough to say.
All right.
But I think that I think that with Carmella and R-Truth and Mandy.
Yeah.
I mean, I like that. Sorry, I shouldn't say R-Truth. With Carmella and Mandy, I like that they played off of the leg thing, but that leg thing at Money in the Bank looked legit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like a part of the match or anything
and
like
maybe
that.
That's why you do a 2 or 3 minute match. You don't want to push her too hard to do a full 10-minute match and see what happens with her knee. So you keep it small match and then have it broken up, and then you have R-Truth carry her out, not her running through the stands, possibly tripping or slipping or something. You have R-Truth carrying her. There's possibilities there as well.
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah.
It's definitely possible. I hope there's something. They probably wouldn't have had her wrestle if there was, even for 2 minutes, if there was fear of her being injured. But still, it looked scary in the match.
Yeah.
R-Truth is the best as 24/7 champion.
It's great. I can't wait to see what happens with Carmella as we come along. I can't believe I'm saying that. I'm just becoming such a massive fan of hers and what she's able to do and the way she's able to play these scenes. She's growing as a performer, growing as a wrestler, and that's exciting to see. And soon enough, I think she'll be back in the mix for these belts, and we'll see how that plays out.
I would like that. I feel like she's definitely someone who is worthy of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would agree with that. We have some backstage vignettes before we jump into our next match with Becky. Bayley getting interviewed about winning the SmackDown title, and she talks about how much she worked hard for it and deserves it, wants to be worthy of it, blah blah blah. Then later we get Becky Lynch get interviewed as well, and she says, I'm gonna take care of business and do whatever, and then I'm gonna come after that belt for Bayley. And Bayley comes walking in, and they have a little back and forth. But you can tell there's a little bit of tension there between them, and I wonder if that's going to lead to something down the road. We'll see. But it's a nice little flavor to throw into this.
Maybe so, but I feel like it can't be long before Becky's more of like a Raw thing.
Yeah.
Because they haven't really established in this wild card rule if you can win the other brand's title.
Good question. I feel like you can if you can go on there as a wild card. Why can't you win the title?
Because then you'd have to be on the show all the time as opposed to a wild card, right?
So then you get an exception. You're not a wild card. You're an exempt champion that can be on both.
See, this is where the wild card rule gets confusing.
Subset A, Article B says. All right, well, Kofi Kingston took on Sami Zayn here. This was a good match as well. Really enjoyed this one. But really, what do you want to say about the match? Good match. Kofi ends up winning this thing. They both gave a good back and forth. These are fun to watch, these kinds of matches, because they're both veterans. They're both high-flying guys. They both have great, surprising moves within, and they both sell each other's moves really well. And then we had, out of nowhere, after Paul Heyman came out with that Money in the Bank suitcase, possibly teasing Lesnar coming out, Dolph Ziggler, a man we'd kind of forgotten about, doing improv shows all over LA, shows up, attacks Kofi, and beats the living crap out of Kofi, even uses the chair to put his neck in there to do the kick. What did you think about this whole thing with Ziggler coming in, and what do you think it's leading to?
Well, first, the match.
Yeah, sure.
Sami Zayn. Loved it.
Yeah.
Great match. This is how you use Sami Zayn, not in a 45-second squash match with a giant. And it's weird. They keep
he seemed to wrestle better one night versus the other.
Yeah, they keep shitting on him on Raw, and then he has to redeem himself on SmackDown with awesome match.
Yeah.
So, and Kofi is starting to be what I was hoping for. He's not it's crazy that I'm champion anymore. He's just putting on good matches with people. He's talking about his legacy and how he wants to be the best champion of all time. Those are things that are important, and putting on matches like this. And this match was awesome, just like the other one was. Yeah. Big fan of the match. Now, as for Dolph, I'm one of those people who thinks there's money in Dolph Ziggler. I've always thought there's money.
Dolph.
Yeah.
Agreed.
He gets a lot of shit from the internet, and I have always been a fan of Dolph Ziggler, and I've always thought if booked correctly, Dolph Ziggler can be used well. I thought that he was used well when he came back with Drew McIntyre.
Sure.
And they were a thing for a little while. He really helped. Like, obviously, Drew McIntyre helped himself as well, but the pairing with Dolph Ziggler and the way they were brought in, you can't argue that Dolph didn't play a part in helping Drew solidify where he's at on Raw right now and back in the eyes of WWE fans.
Agreed.
So, you know, I remember him saying once that he felt like he needed to, like, be off of TV for a few months and then come back as, like, a different thing, you know? So I'm really hoping that's what this is, because I do feel like the edge that he showed, the stomping him on the chair, on his neck, not his leg like they normally do, but on his neck.
Which usually teases a long layoff for the person in that situation. It's rare when the person gets the neck put in the chair that they don't go away for a few weeks. So I hope this isn't that case, and having Kofi step off the stretcher kind of indicates that it's not the case.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of that stretcher thing, I was laughing so hard at the referees all scrambling to put the title on top of Kofi while he was being stretchered away, like as if
what's important here,
as if this is if this is a real thing that was happening. Which I'm shocked at how many people in the crowd were standing there like like it was a real thing that was happening.
So mind blowing to me.
I know,
right?
Me too.
My dad once watched WrestleMania 2 or 3, whatever the one, King Kong Bundy or whatever show it was that did the welts on Hogan's chest, and he never again watched professional wrestling. And I'm like, as a kid, I knew it was fake and it was fun, but to watch real grown men in 2019 in an arena going, I was like, what is happening here? I understand the reaction when Undertaker loses. That's a shock, right? But this is...
Or when someone clearly gets injured.
Yes, like Triple H did, right? That's real injury, or Jericho. You buy that. But this was clearly a setup for the whole situation.
Yeah, I mean, like, Dolph Ziggler obviously didn't actually hurt Kofi's behind and
that would be
try
assault
to break
and
his
batter.
neck.
You go to jail.
Yeah, on national television, international television. Yeah, I was laughing at that too. But hey, that's when.
But you're doing something right if you're getting their reaction.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I was cracking up when all this was happening, and they're cutting between like the serious looks from like some of the concerned people in the crowd who were adults.
Yeah.
And the refs playing like hot potato with the title, trying to figure out, like, that they were in the ears, put the title on Kofi, put the title on, and they're like trying, and then
sliding off.
Jason like takes it, and he kind of like comes around, and they're all like, you can see them like, it's got it. And he's like, he just kind of like drapes it over him, but then the EMT takes it off, and it's like, that was the most. I was cracking up at that. But Dolph, if they can, Dolph was a college wrestler that kicked ass.
Yeah.
Dolph could probably beat the shit out of a lot of people. Like,
sure.
He's a smaller dude, I know, but Dolph Ziggler probably beat some dudes up, and most certainly uses wrestling skill on them and stuff. So I've always felt that if they made Dolph out to be more of a badass and less of like a Shawn Michaels ripoff or 80s hair metal cover band guy, that there'd be so much more money in him. Like a Ric Flair wearing suits, taken seriously kind of guy. Yeah. And I'm hoping that's the direction they're going in, even with the promo after that was very different than the promos we've seen of Dolph in the past. At least indicated we're getting some kind of changing character, which I'm into. I'm just praying that they change his music. If they use that stupid record scratch and I'm here to show the world, dead on a DOA. The second with this new gimmick, DOA. Yeah. They have to do even if it's just something simple like Cesaro's knee theme, they just need to give him something.
That's a good point.
I'm here to show the world is very #heel. Yeah. And that's a long time ago. A different Dolph Ziggler. I think that even Zack Ryder has changed his music of like the radio stuff from back then, and they were very much a part of that time. Dolph Ziggler and Zack Ryder. So I think Dolph Ziggler, to be an effective main eventer, to change what he's been doing, the music needs to change.
I think it's a great thrill or X factor to throw in this situation, because if we are going to move KO, then someone needs to step in, and it can't be Sami at this point. But having Ziggler come in is great because Ziggler is an unknown thing right now. We haven't seen him in a while. And him and Kofi have had some great programs in the past. So to see them going at it again in a new program, possibly for the belt, with this kind of viciousness in play, I love. And I agree with you about changing the theme music. And we'll see how this goes forward if he joins this faction with KO and Zayn or does his own thing, pursuing the title with Kofi. That'll be fun because if anyone can go back and forth with the New Day on a promo, it's Ziggler. He certainly can give as good as he gets, and he's fun and funny when he gets on there. What thing I want to say, though, as you were talking here, how great is Sami Zayn's music? Like, that music can go multiple federations, multiple years, and you don't need to change. It's one of those rare theme songs you never need to change.
You know why?
Why?
Because ska music is awesome.
Oh, my God.
Ska music gets so much hate. Ska music gets way too much hate. You put ska music on.
I had no idea we were going here, people.
You're in a great mood. I've never put on a ska song and been like, ugh, I'm in a bad mood listening to Save Ferris. No, you like Save Ferris when you put it on, you know? So yeah, I'm Ryan Satin, and I'm here to say that ska music needs more respect.
Oh my God, please someone make a meme out of that. Oh my God, that's incredible. I had no idea.
The more you know thing over it.
I had no idea that's where we were going.
With a little skanking guy at the end of the star instead. Just like this.
I just love it. If I had theme music for a wrestling thing, I would absolutely have it more like that. Because you come out just having a little fun. If you're a face, I guess. All right, let's move on to the
RX Bandits, Save Ferris, Less Than Jake.
No Doubt.
Great bands.
Does No Doubt count?
No Doubt is 100% a ska band.
All right.
I actually was talking about this with someone the other day. I was like, No Doubt's the most successful ska band of all time, right?
Absolutely.
And I feel like people don't classify them as ska.
Yeah.
They classify them as like alternative music.
Alternative rock or something.
And it's like, no. They were a ska band. There is a horn section in that band. Don't tell me that ska can't be a mainstream successful thing.
Yeah.
No Doubt. Gwen Stefani.
Well, this has been your Music Minute, brought to you by Ryan Satin.
Everyone always like, oh, ska music, ska music. It's great. It's great.
All right, there we go. Fantastic. All right, we'll move on to a tag match here that was teased all night. Bayley and Becky Lynch taking on Charlotte Flair and Lacey Evans. This was a good match as well. Really enjoyed the back and forth with all four of these ladies, giving it as good as they got from each other. And they gave Bayley the win here on Charlotte. Again, a surprise win. And it was one of those wins where they kick out immediately, shocked that they got pinned. So I liked all around everything that happened here. Lacey had her spots. Becky certainly. And then overall, then Becky and Bayley argue about who helped make that win happen. So everything gets fulfilled here.
Charlotte's face was so funny when she did that kick out. Oh, it was like so. I was laughing so hard. Yeah, I agree with you. I think everyone here was used to their best capacity. We talked about it yesterday, but making sure people are their talents are max. Their strengths are maximized.
Yeah,
and that was really what went on here. I thought like Lacey and Charlotte seemed like a fun team together. Yeah. Becky and Bayley were a good team together. All around, I was happy with this match. I felt like Bayley winning was the right call, especially since she just won the title.
Yes.
And if it had been over Lacey, it wouldn't have been as meaningful.
No, I don't think so either. Yeah.
And it also would have kind of messed everything up. Not messed everything, but messed with the Becky and Lacey feud a little bit. Yeah. So I feel like this was the right call. I'm happy with it. I don't think we're getting Becky 2 belts back anytime soon. I think they're just going to be
Bayley talking about how she wants 2 belts now. I was like, slow down.
Bayley 2 belts?
Slow down, Bayley.
Slow down, Bayley.
Enjoy the 1 belt. Try defending the 1 belt. Then we'll move on to the... But what's also great about them is that if this had been a match on Raw, I think Becky would have gotten the pin on Lacey as the Raw kind of competitors. So it's smart to have Bayley pin Charlotte because those are the SmackDown people, and you keep pushing this rivalry between them. So we're going to get a program between those two and promos back and forth. I think the Becky thing is being added now to kind of elevate it a little bit and then push it off on its own to see where it goes.
I also feel like Lacey, being one of the wild card people that showed up on SmackDown, has to show where she stands in the eyes of Vince.
1,000,000% correct.
Yeah, because it's been all like upper echelon people for the most part. So the fact that she's one of the people that they bookmarked for that, I was like,
Yeah.
that shows pretty well for her. You know?
yeah.
I think they're pretty happy with everything she's been doing.
She's taken to it really quickly once they finally let her get in the ring. And yeah, have there been moments where she's been a little overwhelmed? Sure, but she's still young and figuring out what it's like at that tier. They let her play with the big dogs in that tier, and so she's gonna take her bumps, but she's having way more successes than stumbles. So, and that's a positive. And I think in the long run, she's gonna win a lot of fans over, so that when she wins the belt, it'll be a powerful victory.
I'm loving that thing that she does in the match where she pulls the handkerchief out and cleans herself off under the arm, gets everything. That won me over. I loved it. I also love when she came out with the money guns.
Oh yeah.
At Money in the Bank. Although I also cracked up seeing Becky Lynch call her out on that. Did you see that?
No.
She said something. I won't pull it up. I won't waste time. But she said something along the lines of like, comes out at Money in the Bank with money guns, but does $20 cameos for fans in the locker room.
That's horrible.
I know. I was like, oh,
Becky,
burn.
Becky.
Are you on Cameo?
A year ago, you were straight to DVD. Calm down.
Are you on Cameo?
I joined Cameo through Jeff Snyder, but I've never done my intro video.
Don't do it.
I don't know.
You know how I look at it? I go,
it's good money.
How much does Jeff make?
I don't know.
He makes nothing because no one gives a fuck about having Jeff do a cameo for them.
True, but the Outlaw.
I was just going to say, I don't know. I feel like if you're at a certain level, like if you're charging $5 for cameos, you should just be doing that for free.
I am not.
Not you.
Yeah, I would charge 50.
50?
50, son.
You would never sell them.
Okay.
Even wrestlers don't.
But at least I keep my dignity.
That I agree with.
That's why I would charge that.
I respect that.
Okay, thank you.
But if you're doing $5, $10 cameos, here's a tip. Just do them for free so you can have a bigger fan base.
Yeah.
Duh.
That makes
no sense. Like, it makes no sense. You're not, if you're not that famous, so silly. I see people on there, I'm like, it's so fun. It's honestly one of my favorite things to do. I go on Cameo and I just
you look at famous, see who's on there?
Yeah, my girlfriend and I, we go there and we test each other to see if we can guess how much they charge. It's the most fun game to play on Cameo.
Who's the saddest one you've seen on there? Like that you were like, oh no.
To be honest, Jeff Snyder was.
Oh, was it?
I was like, who the fuck would want one from Jeff Snyder?
Oh man, Snyder heat here. I love it. All right, let's move on. Ziggler comes out after being asked in the back. Who's the blonde lady again?
Sarah Schreiber.
She is good.
Didn't you say last time she sucked? I said how good she was.
And I brought it up for that reason. I'm always willing to accept.
It was only like a week ago.
No, it was like 3 weeks ago.
She's only been up there for
She fumbled that interview. The first time I saw, I thought she was not good in that. But the last 2 weeks I've seen her, she's been really good.
She's great. She's been great on NXT too. That's why I was so mad when you talked shit because she's like phenomenal, and I don't say that a lot with backstage interviews.
All I can do is give you my opinion of what I'm watching. So if Sarah is watching, I apologize, but you are fantastic.
She did you see the girl who got fired? Dasha Fuentes. She did an interview with Chris Van Vliet, who does Van Vliet, I think that's how you say it. Yeah. He does tons of wrestling interviews, and she did one with him, and she talked about why she got fired, and she pointed to like a specific promo they were on, like the backstage interview that they were unhappy about. And I watched it, and she like did nothing wrong in it, and I was so confused. I was like, she didn't even do anything bad. Like I've seen way worse things in backstage interviews before. So it's really weird how quickly they can turn on someone like that, because they told her like, after that you're off TV, blah blah type thing. So it's interesting. But yeah, I think Sarah's great.
Yeah, I will say one thing, and this makes sense. It goes along to like when I was talking to Booker T, he was making a comment. We were talking backstage before we did the whole Schmodown thing, and I mentioned how some writers were complaining that like the wrestlers like don't get to know them. And Booker said, man, that's just how it is. If you're here in a year, then I'll get to know you. Because the turnover is so fast and you never know what it's going to be that's going to get you let go or fired or what have you. And so the same situation here with Dasha, if it seemed like a good interview, but for whatever reason, they didn't like the beats or didn't like the way she was doing it, it's all subjective, isn't it? And so they'll just let you go because there's 500 other people who are begging for a shot to be on television and do that.
Yeah, and not to sound like a dick, but I was the same way at TMZ. Like there was such a big, like I was there for 7 years. So there was such a big turnover rate on the news desk where it was like, I'm going to give this person 4 months.
Wow.
If they're here in 4 months, then we'll become friendly. Like, you know, because otherwise I've had 2 people I've gotten close with that have been gone quickly, you know, a lot quicker than that. Even my girlfriend, you talked to her about it. Like, she was like, no, he was like a dick to me at first, you know?
Oh, wow.
Because I didn't really.
Oh, you were?
I was. Because I was like one of the higher ups and I wasn't trying to like be friendly with everyone. I was trying to be their boss. You know, I was young and my first time being like in a boss position. Made mistakes, obviously, but like
who does?
Yeah, but you know, that was so I totally understand that mentality of like you got to wait a little bit of time before I'm gonna break that barrier.
He was so funny. Come on, dog. You be here in a year, then I'll talk to you. Come on, dog.
I mean, even if you go, I don't know if you saw it. There's like an unlisted video that WWE has out. It's not listed on the YouTube channel, but if you search it, you can find it. And it's like what they, it's like how they push the creative position on writers, and it's like a video. It's a video they can watch about the creative writing process in WWE. It's a recent one that was put out, and while watching it, when it came out, I was thinking to myself, because it got leaked somewhere, but it was still recent video, and I was thinking, I love that if you watch this video and you know about the behind the scenes of WWE, there was like 7 people from the video who had already
been let go,
fired, or quit. You know?
Woof.
So I cracked up watching it. I was thinking like, that person's not there. That person's not there. That person's not there anymore.
Yikes.
But way to make this look like a fun environment.
Well, okay, let's move back to SmackDown. Ziggler comes out, explains the reasons for why he did what he did, and guess what? It's that old school thing. It should have been me. What about me? The Raven storyline there. So he comes out and says that, you know, him being pushed to the side, other people got the shine. He respected Kofi went over as much as he did, but it should have been his time, his movement, his path to the championship, and so that's his motivation. Same thing KO kind of said as well, and I imagine when Ali turns heel, that may be something he goes with as well. And so I like this angle. What other angle are you going to play with, Dolph?
Yeah,
right.
I agree. Yeah, and it does. And you know, yes, KO might have said it, but you know what? I feel like with Dolph Ziggler's character, you know, with KO, it was more like I was supposed to be in that match.
Yeah,
that was going to be me. You messed me up. Same with Ali, how it'll probably be down the line. But I felt like with Dolph Ziggler, even though it was like it should have been me, it was more so because like he and Kofi were in the same place for so long.
Yeah,
they really were like those two guys who will have a good match with anyone, that are the survivors, that the fans love, but they just can't break that glass ceiling. So and Dolph got it once and then just got shoved right back down. Right. You know. So I kind of got it. I liked it here. I also felt like Dolph's delivery was different than his promos of the past.
It was way more passionate.
Way more passionate, honest. Yeah. It to me, it felt like he's been taking acting classes in his time away.
I was just gonna say that. Yes.
And to me, you know, as someone who like grew up wanting to be an actor or whatever and taking acting classes and all that kind of stuff, you know, when I watch a promo, there's like certain things I can tell someone's doing in a promo where it's obvious to me that they're trying to remember their lines. Yeah. You know, a lot of like certain pauses they'll do and they're like in their head, or there's certain like they do these kinds of things and it's like very much that they're trying to remember words in their head, and it's like little things they do that they don't think people notice, but people do. And I feel like when you go to acting class, they help you get rid of that.
Yeah, those are tics.
They are. Yeah. And they work with you to get into here as opposed to in here. And it's hard to do that in WWE because of the scripts changing so close to the show starting that you don't have a lot of time to work on it and deliver it. But it felt like he really nailed it here, in my opinion. I know there are some who feel like, oh, great, another Dolph push that's going to evaporate in a few weeks.
Yeah, some people are speculating that it's just a one-off for
Super Showdown, and they asked him to come in, and then he's back doing his comedy. We'll find out, you know, but I don't know. I just feel like, to me, Dolph Ziggler, really could be a valuable main event player on SmackDown.
On SmackDown, especially the way it's set up right now, you could easily throw him in with Andrade or Ali or even Samoa Joe, and it all would work, no matter depending on what side of the fence he's on. It all would work. So yeah, I agree with you on that. We'll see how it plays out too, because we're only 2 weeks away from it, so it's coming up.
Yeah, it's definitely coming up. Yeah, 2 weeks, something like that.
I could barely take my breath after Money in the Bank. All right, Roman Reigns taking on Elias.
Well, you said you're not watching this one though, right?
Yeah, I'm not watching this one.
Right, because this is the Saudi Arabia one.
Yeah, I'm not watching.
Okay,
but I'll see the results.
You'll see the results. Yes,
that's what I'll say. Because Goldberg versus Undertaker, come on now. I can go to the Senior Assisted Living Center and watch 2 old men fight. Roman Reigns taking on Elias.
You shouldn't go to a Senior Assisted Living Center to go watch old men fight. That's really inappropriate.
That's a new World Star Hip Hop thing. That should be a new channel. I'm sorry. Men are angry. All right,
what are you doing today? Oh, I just rolled up to the Senior Living Center. Gonna watch 2 old dudes kick the shit out of each other. No big deal.
It's a good Saturday. Grandpa Fight Club. I'm in. All right. Shane McMahon is in the corner.
There was the Grandpa Fight Club is take your meds.
Don't wear your dentures. I'm in so much trouble. Now I'm in so much trouble. Now I'm going to get the Gray Panthers or whatever they're called coming after me. So they battle in the ring, Elias and Roman Reigns. Good match. Elias, really good match. I think from both of them. Believable way that Reigns is almost taken advantage of by Elias in terms of losing it, but ends up getting that win. Shane comes in, interrupts, starts banging on, or bunching rather, Reigns, and Reigns gets him out of there with a Superman punch when he grabs the guitar, and then McIntyre comes in with a Claymore kick to set up this Superstar Showdown match that's coming up. So, you like all of this overall?
Yeah, the part I liked the most wasn't in the match, but I liked before when they showed Elias on top of the truck.
Yes.
As Roman Reigns was walking by and starting a truck or a song from the top of the truck, it reminded me of Almost Famous or something like that, where he's like high in the air playing a song. I enjoyed that. It was a little different. The match itself was obviously longer and better than their match at Money in the Bank. I'm assuming that's why the Money in the Bank match was so short. They knew they were going to get the rematch here on SmackDown, maybe. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad or anything. I didn't love it. I wasn't thrilled. I mean, there was a huge commercial break in the middle of it. So, I mean, it wasn't, and it was out of all the matches to not have the picture-in-picture, it was the main event. And so,
that's weird.
Yeah. So, I didn't dislike it. I'm really I'm burnt out on Shane being a wrestler. I really am.
I'm not gonna disagree with you.
I know, I'm sure people are tired about me complaining about it on here because clearly I need to give up because it's not going away, but it's
isn't Shane in charge of SmackDown? So who's scheduling the matches?
Well, Shane's supposed to be in charge of Raw and SmackDown.
So he's scheduling the matches.
The McMahons are supposed to be in charge.
Well, then he's scheduling the matches, so he can schedule himself out of a match.
He can schedule himself out of a match.
I feel like that's what should be happening. I agree with you, man.
I think it's going to be a tag team match still. I think it's going to change to a tag team match.
Miz and
Reigns versus McIntyre and Shane.
That makes sense.
Right? I feel like it's going to happen. If not, what's happening?
And then maybe it'll inspire a match later in the night between Shane and Miz for the best in the world. Because that has to happen.
I don't know.
That's where he won the damn thing.
I agree with you, but I don't know, man. At this point, anything Shane related sucks the excitement out of me. I'm just I like Shane the character.
Of course.
Shane the wrestler, I'm just
Here come the money.
Yeah. I just don't. I definitely don't want to see him interacting with the top star on the show.
True.
Shane is not a serious threat to anyone. It's ridiculous that they're trying to act as though he is.
Yeah.
He's not even as buff as Vince used to be. Vince, at least, when Vince was Mr. McMahon and the main guy, Vince was jacked to the gills. I mean, you wouldn't want to mess with Vince now. He's still buff.
Yeah, he is. I wouldn't mess with Vince at all.
And I know that Shane is knows MMA and all that kind of stuff, but still, he's not this imposing force like Vince was.
Right. He doesn't seem threatening.
No.
He
seems really nice. Even though he's trying to be.
I've heard he is really nice.
He's supposedly super nice.
Yeah. I'd like to know Shane.
I remember when I was at WrestleMania the year when he had that Hell in a Cell match a few years back, and went off the cell. And I remember I saw him at the hotel, the Wrestle Hotel. He was just walking around, shaking hands with everyone, literally going out of his way to hey, nice to meet you. Hey, nice to meet you to like everyone involved,
Wow.
like all the wrestlers. Just literally going all, hey, good to see you. Hey, good to see you. And he had just been gone off a cage, like a Hell in a Cell. So yeah, he's supposedly a really nice guy.
Yeah, fair enough. There you go. Well, you do what you can.
Get him off. Get him out of the matches, man.
All right. Oh, we didn't talk about the latest Bray Wyatt skit. Did you like it?
Oh, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah. We should mention that. Because it was previewed here as well. Or highlighted.
It didn't really.
Yeah, this one was the most disappointing one that I think I've seen.
I don't want to say disappointing. It was just very fast.
Okay.
Like, it was just like nothing really happened.
That's what I mean. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened in it. The only thing I got from it was that it's more than likely what his new cutscene is going to be. You know how he had the whole like thing before he came out into the whole "we're here." I'm assuming that's his new thing. Yeah. But it wasn't anything like mind blowing.
Yeah, I thought so too. That's why I think that's why I didn't even put it in the rundown yesterday, because I was like, it's not that exciting.
Yeah, well, nothing was really progressed in it.
Yeah, especially after we got the reveal 2 weeks ago. So
yeah, and I also hate Michael Cole talking about the fun time for some reason. Like when he said something like, "Oh, Bray had a secret for everyone, and last week it was revealed," and here I don't, for some reason it like took the scariness out of it.
Yeah, it's a very cheesy way to go into it. It should just go.
Just go.
Right.
As if they don't even know they're happening.
Yeah, intro to the promo.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I agree. All right, well, thanks everybody for watching this SmackDown Live recap. As always, it's a blast to bring you our thoughts on the show and then hear your thoughts on the show on Twitter and on YouTube with your comments. Ryan, tell them everywhere they can find and read the stuff we do.
ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website. That's where you can find all the top stories throughout the week. All my sister's my sister's graduations, they're all done now. I'm back to work. All full steam ahead for Double or Nothing. So keep your eye on the website, ProWrestlingSheet.com, @WrestlingSheet on social media, YouTube.com/C/WrestlingSheet. That's where you can find all the Raw and SmackDown recaps we do, and Wrestling Sheet Radio, and any other videos I have time to make. So go check it out there. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. Subscribe, like the videos, comment. I read them. Just make sure you do that. It helps out a ton. And if you just want to listen to the audio, check it out, Wrestling Sheet Radio on all the big podcast platforms.
There you go. Follow him @Ryan Satin. Follow me @The Rocha Says, and let us know what you thought. We love it. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy your week. Watch some wrestling, and we'll see you next week for another Raw and SmackDown Live recap on the Pro Wrestling Sheet.
ProWrestlingSheet.com